What is going on, guys? Welcome back. In today's video we're going to talk about metadata and extracting metadata using Python. Now, if you have watched the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial, you saw this one expert talking about how the metadata of an image or of a photo reveals that it was edited using a certain software and a bunch of other things. And in order to understand what this means, in order to understand what metadata can reveal to us, we're going to learn about this in today's video. We're going to take a look at a couple of pictures and look at this so-called metadata to see what it reveals and what we can do with the data. So let us get right into it.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Alright, now for today's video I'm going to use a Jupyter Notebook inside of Jupyter Lab. However, as always, you can use whatever you are most comfortable with. You can use VS Code, you can use PyCharm, you can use the default Python idle. That is totally up to you. Also, for today's video, we're going to need two external Python libraries. We're going to install them when we need them, but the first one we need right away, so we have to install it right away. And for that, we open up a command line and we type pip install Pillow. Pillow is the library that we're going to use first. This is a library that we use for working with images, for image manipulation, for loading and saving images and all that. So we're going to install it like that. And once it is installed, we're going to say import PIL in capital letters .image. So import image from Pillow. So pil.image. I don't recommend saying from pil import image because you have image in a bunch of different libraries. You have it in tkinter as well, I think. And if you import multiple images in projects, then Python doesn't really know which image you're using right now. So I usually do import pil.image. But if you want to, of course, you can also say from pil import image. So I have two images here, image 1 JPEG, image 2 JPEG. I got them from online, and essentially they're just photos of a random scenery. And we're going to try to extract metadata information from those images. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say, okay, image equals pil.image.open, and we're going to open here the image1.jpg. And then we essentially can say something like print image dot underscore get exif. Now exif stands for, as far as I know, exchangeable, what was it, image file format or something like that. Exchangeable image file format, yeah, or exchangeable image file. This is essentially the metadata, what we can see here. So we have image dot underscore get exif, and you can see in the form of a byte stream here all the metadata, but this doesn't really give us the information that we want. So we're going to do it in a different way as well. We're going to say here in a new cell, we're going to say import pil.exif tags. So the same exif that we use above here, but we're going to use now the exif tags. And we're going to say that exif is equal to a dictionary. And we're going to use a dictionary comprehension here. We're going to say pil.exif tags. And we're going to use here a key and a value for key and value in image dot underscore get exif, which is the function that we used above here to get this byte stream, dot get exif dot items like this. And we're going to say only if the key is in pil.exif tags. So this is now executed, and if I now show the exif dictionary here, you can see that we have the metadata that is interesting for us. So we can see here the GPS info, which is already quite crazy that I now have the GPS information where this picture was taken in or taken at. So essentially, this doesn't work, by the way, for all the images. So if I send you an image via WhatsApp, you're not going to get the original image, because when I record an image with my camera and my phone, this image has the metadata, the GPS information and all that. But once I send it to you via WhatsApp or via Facebook or something like that, a compression happens and it's actually a different image than the one that I have on my phone. However, if I take the exact image that I have on my phone and I upload it on Google Drive, for example, or Dropbox, and I send that image to you, you will be able to see all that information. And of course, if I'm in court and someone takes my phone and they look through my pictures and they look at the metadata, they will also see all of that information. So this can also be used for legal purposes to to see where you have been at a certain point in time or what software was used, because in the metadata we have, first of all, as I said, the GPS information, but also stuff like, okay, what was the camera, the model, or the phone, whatever, what was the software that was used to create this image. So you can see a bunch of things here that can be quite interesting. Now, regarding the GPS information, I'm not going to talk about this too much here because I plan on making a second video on how to display the GPS location based on an image. But just keep in mind that you also have the GPS information here, provided, of course, that you have a picture with the necessary EXIF data. Because, again, as I said, if you upload a profile picture to LinkedIn, or if you upload something to Facebook or Instagram, or if I send you a WhatsApp message, this is not the original image with the original metadata, but it's a WhatsApp image or an Instagram image, which was converted and changed and all that. So that's important to keep in mind here, but if you have the original image, you can see a bunch of metadata information. This can be quite interesting because let's say you have taken a picture like this one somewhere in the world and you forgot where it was taken, but you really want to go back to that place for whatever reason. You can just look at the metadata and you know, provided that your phone has the necessary settings and you didn't disable stuff like this here. So one thing I want to show you here, this is actually the thing that is relevant to the Johnny Depp trial, is that I can now take this picture here and I can edit it with GIMP, for example, to increase the saturation or to, I don't know, change some values, to draw something onto it, to fake something. And let me just see here if I can. I don't think that I will be able to open this from the Jupyter Lab here. So now I have it open up in the Explorer, and now I can just right click the image, I can open with GIMP, and then I can start an editing process to change some things in the hope that people are not going to notice that I changed something like Amber Heard did, probably. And for example, I can now go to colors, I can say color balance, I can try to increase the red here, I can try to decrease the yellow, or to increase the yellow, I can go more to magenta, I can go to saturation, I can increase that, I can go to brightness contrast, I can increase the contrast and I can decrease the brightness, something like that. Now the image is changed and I can go ahead and say, okay, overwrite the image, or in my case, I'm just going to say, okay, save an edited version here so that we can compare it. So image 1 edited. And of course, this also works if the title is the same. So the title is not the problem here. But if I now save this, I can just export it here, and you can see that automatically GIMP has this option here, save EXIF data. Which is a default. And of course, if you don't know anything about computers and programming, you just leave the default, you export it. And now if I go to the respective Jupyter Notebook here, I can go ahead and do the same thing that I did here. I can do the same thing for the edited image. So I can essentially say image 2 equals pill image open image 1 underscore edited .jpg. Then I can run this, and then I can copy this here, and I can say EXIF2 is the same thing, but for image 2, and then we can compare some things here. So I can say EXIF, and you can see here that this is, again, the first one. You can see that the software that produced this image is the Nikon Transfer 1.1, whatever, the software of the actual camera. Whereas if I say EXIF2, you can see the software is GIMP. And of course, if you don't know anything about that, and in court you try to say, okay, this is just a picture I took with my camera, and someone opens up this this EXIF metadata and sees, okay, the software is GIMP 2.10, then they probably know that you edited something. This was what happened sort of in the Amber Heard trial, Johnny Depp trial. So this is something kind of interesting that we can see here, that which software was used. However, keep in mind, metadata can be manipulated. I can also just go ahead and change this metadata, and we're going to look at this in a second here. But this metadata, if you don't know about it, because a lot of people don't know that this metadata existed, their photos have GPS tags, and the software that created them and the model of the actual phone or camera that created them, they don't know that there is such a thing as EXIF metadata. And if you don't know it, this can catch you off guard. So one more thing that I want to show you here, if you don't want to see the whole EXIF dictionary, you can also just access individual keys. So I can go here and say, for example, I want to see what software was used. And then you can see here GIMP in this case. And if I copy this and I say EXIF software, and I print both of those. Print and print. You can see Nikon transfer and GIMP. So there's obviously a difference here. Something happened that was not natural. So that's it for the actual reading of the metadata. Again, I'm gonna make a more detailed video on the GPS location and all that, but for now, just keep in mind you have a lot of metadata that you can look at, and now we're gonna see how we can change that. So how can we change, for example, that the software is no longer GIMP, but something else? How can I change that? And for that, we're gonna need the second library that I talked about. So we're gonna open up the command line. I'm gonna type pip install pyexif, so pyexif, like that. And once we have that, we're going to import it. We're going to say import pyexif, and I'm going to load an EXIF dictionary from the image. So for example, from the edited image, I'm going to say pyexif.load image1 edited.jpg, and then I can also show this EXIF dictionary. Again, we have all this information here. We can also see GIMP and all that. So this is again just a metadata, and what we can do now is we can take all this, we can change it, and we can then save it to the image. So what I can do here in particular is I can either create my own dictionary, or I can just go ahead and say, okay, load the metadata of the original image and replace it now. So what I can do is I can say, okay, new EXIF is gonna be the same as the old EXIF, so pyexif load. I want to have the original metadata, even though I changed the metadata. I want to have it like this. New EXIF is pyexif load image1.jpg. So now we have the original one. If we look at this, you can see that we have the Nikon transfer here. And now I can say, okay, the EXIF underscore bytes are going to be just pyexif.dump. And I'm going to dump here the new EXIF. So that I get a byte stream, and then what I do is I say pyexif.insert, and I want to insert the EXIF bytes into the image1 edited JPEG, like this. So what we did here is we loaded the original, we loaded the actual metadata of the edited image. This is actually a step that's not necessary here in this case, but we then loaded the original metadata of the not manipulated image, and we turned this into a byte stream, essentially. And then we took that byte stream and inserted it into the edited image. And now if I go ahead and say image edited equals pill image open image1 edited.jpg, and then for example I take this notation here again, so I basically just say EXIF, let's call this EXIF edited, is the same thing as all this here, but not image, but image underscore edited, and then I run this, and then I say EXIF edited, run this. You can see that now I have again the Nikon transfer 1.1 here, not GIMP, even though this is the edited image. So I can still open it here, and you can see it's definitely a different image. It's definitely the manipulated version, but you can see that we have the software that we want to have here. However, keep in mind, this is not professional editing of the metadata. Probably there's some way to figure out that I did something wrong. Maybe there's a hash. Maybe because the file name is different, maybe because of a timestamp, I don't know. But this is just showing you in general, it works. In general, you can change metadata. In general, metadata reveals a lot of information about you. You can also change the GPS text and all that. You can just manually take a dictionary, because after all, I think if I go type, this is just a dictionary. I can change the key value pairs of the dictionary, and I can then use pyexif to insert that new dictionary into the metadata, and then I can have whatever I want written in there. So that's actually what I wanted to show you. I want to show you how much metadata actually can reveal, and also how you can change it. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. If so, let me know by hitting a like button and leaving a comment in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to not miss a single future video for free. Other than that, thank you much for watching. See you in the next video, and